financial policy is a wonky topic, but it makes so much difference in our lives, in the lives of our neighbors, for everyone. Social Security has been a big topic of conversation, and wondering, is it going to be there for the future? And some estimates have it running out at 2028, some at 2035. It depends on so very, very much. But one of the reasons, and there are many solutions given for how we can rectify it, leveling out benefits, that is, raising them for the poorest, and leveling them off or cutting them off completely for people who any sane person would say they don't need an extra $1,500 a month. If they have $30 million tucked away, then what the Sam Hill? Do they need that extra $1,600 a month? Taxes have always been redistributive by nature, and but one of the problems, one of the reasons that are given for Social Security being in the state it is, and there's so much to this topic, but we'll try to at least deal with a narrow sliver of it, is that there are so many baby boomers. Excuse me. I am one of them. I was right at the tail end of the baby boom. I was my father came home from World War II, and I was the last of several children. And now, in not many years, I will be eligible for Social Security. But one of the reasons for Social Security, that is given for Social Security having difficulty, is that there are so many baby boomers coming up. Oh my, these many elderly people. That's the reason that we're having these difficulties with Social Security. And the fact is, that is not the case at all. The last revision of Social Security benefits and taxes was in the 70s. And in the 70s, they were well aware of how many people the baby boom how many people of the baby boom would be receiving Social Security. And the taxes were designed to take care of that. There is a reason, though, that Social Security has a financial problem for meeting its obligations. And that's where some numbers come in. The bottom line is that, say you have a very poor family, or poor individual, we'll say. He's making $10,000 a year. That's not very much at all. It's very difficult to live on that amount. I'm afraid I know whereof I speak. The Social Security tax is 6.2, so the amount he will pay into Social Security is a little over $600, and his employer matches that. Now, $600 out of $10,000, that's a chunk of change when you spread that over a year. That's what is that? Coming around $50 a month. That's very hard when you're starting with $10,000. So a very poor person is paying a larger percentage of his income, but he's hardly putting anything into Social Security. So poor people are not going to keep Social Security afloat. Now let's look at a person with a very large income, say $1 million a year. You might say, wow, $1 million a year, $100,000 a year. That means they're putting $60,000 a year into Social Security. Wow, but that's not how it works. Social Security taxes are only taken out of the first $143,000 thereabout. And that does not mean that people making $143,000 and under do pay Social Security, and people making more than that do not. It is marginal. You are taxed Social Security on your first $143,000, and then the amount you earn over that does not have Social Security taken out, and your employer does, if you have an employer making that, and you're making that much, the employer does not have to take out his portion of the amount over $143,000. Keep those marginal words in mind. They're important. So therefore, the rich, and you know what? That's just, you go, oh, one of those wealthy people, how come they get to only pay a teeny percentage of their income in Social Security? Because Social Security tops out. The benefit that you get upon retirement tops out. And again, you may say, oh, very, very, very wealthy people, they don't even need Social Security in the first place. And of course, they'd respond, we pay into it. Why shouldn't we get out of it? And you'd say, because it's a tax. Taxes are not meant to pay you back. They're meant to run government services. So anyway, whether you may need them or not, you may not have a barge going down the Ohio River, but your taxes will still pay for the locks that must be on the Ohio River to keep the water level up high enough to guarantee shipping, and you benefit from the shipping, believe it or not, on the Ohio River to some extent. But I digress. So wealthy people are paying a very small percentage of their total taxable income into Social Security. So how can we say if the wealthy are paying very little and the poor are paying very little, how did they figure out in the 70s that we'd have all the money we need in Social Security? Because the Social Security program at the time assumed a thriving middle class. It assumed that unions would continue as strong as they were then on into the future. What is actually happening? Republicans have worked their hardest to destroy unions, to make union shops optional. Right to work means right to not be in a union if you're in a union shop. It has nothing to do with right to work. So that is why Social Security is having difficulty in the problems. The benefits are not too big. The amount of money coming in is not wrong. The middle class has been wiped. If we still had a thriving, strong middle class, we would not be having these conversations about Social Security. But it has contracted to the point that the main engine, the main contributors to Social Security have become less and less and less. The people making less than $148,000, but more than $40,000. That's the engine that runs Social Security. And these people have become less and less, a big donut hole in our wage earning population. population.